These printers are priced almost the same, but depending on what you print, one could be a much better fit for you. Today, we're breaking everything down, and honestly, the answer isn't as nearly as simple as it should be. My name is Adam, and this is the Rad Dad Print Lab. Let's get into it. The decision to buy one printer over the other, especially if it's your first printer, can be a really hard choice. These printers are priced extremely similar, and after having used them for so long, the answer isn't as nearly as you might think. Right now, the Elegoo Centauri Carbon is on sale for $265. The Bambu Lab A1 is on sale for $299 for the printer only, not with the AMS system. But even off the sales, they hold about the same gap in price. First, let's talk about the strengths of the Bambu Lab A1. It has a full ecosystem that includes cloud printing, phone monitoring, sending prints directly from your phone to the printer, and the Bambu Lab Studio is highly optimized for this printer. The A1 also has automatic filament calibrations, which is something that the Centauri Carbon lacks. Now, you can do those manually on this printer without an issue, but it is just really nice that it's built into the printer and you don't have to worry about that. Now, if you want to do any sort of multicolor or multi-material printing, then the Bambu Lab A1 is the only choice here, because at this time, the Centauri Carbon has no such capabilities. Now, where the Elegoo Centauri Carbon shines is that this printer is a lot more capable, especially when it comes to what kind of materials that you can print with. It has a fully enclosed system that allows for higher temperature materials like ABS, ASA, polycarbonate, stuff like that. It also has a higher capable hot end at 320 degrees versus the A1's 300 degree hot end. The bed can also reach 110 degrees Celsius, whereas the Bambu Lab A1 can only do 100 degrees. Where this is going to help is with bed adhesion for some of those more exotic materials that require the higher temperatures. If you want to print carbon fiber or glass fiber filaments, the Centauri Carbon comes stock with a hardened nozzle and extruder. The A1 can print those, but in order to do so, you are going to have to purchase upgrades to make that happen. Both of these printers feature the same build volume, 256 by 256 by 256 millimeters. In fact, you can even swap the build plates between them, and I do so regularly. One big difference here is that the A1 is a bed slinger and the Centauri Carbon is a Core XY machine. A bed slinger is going to move its heated bed back and forth along the Y axis, while the printhead moves only on the X and Z axis. The Core Y system of the Centauri Carbon has a bed that moves up and down along the Z axis, and the printhead is free to move anywhere on the X and Y axis. Generally, the Core XY system is regarded as the nicer setup, and it can even take up less of a footprint. On the bed slinger, the bed needs room to travel in front and behind the printer, and this usually does take up more space. Both machines have good user-friendly screens, and they also have built-in cameras for time-lapse and remote monitoring. The Centauri Carbon has a much better camera for one reason. The frame rate is significantly higher versus the embarrassingly bad frame rate on the Bambu Lab A1. This is usable. It's really not all that bad, but it is nowhere near where it needs to be. The print quality differences between these two printers when dealing with PLA, PETG, and TPU are both very good. Realistically, you're probably not going to see much of a difference between these two printers, as they are both really good at printing stuff. However, the Centauri Carbon is a bit faster. When loading up the same file in Orca Slicer for the Centauri and Bambu Studio for the A1, the Centauri Carbon prints the file in roughly 1 hour and 38 minutes. The A1 takes 1 hour and 52 minutes. That's a pretty good difference, but they're both still really fast, as I mentioned before. Where the Centauri Carbon is going to have a large advantage in print quality is with the tall objects. Since the bed only moves up and down, it can stabilize tall prints. On the bed slinging A1, the print is moving all over the place, so you can really start to notice printing issues on the higher end of the prints. Now, something that I'm finding more important as I review more printers is this. How is the durability of the printer? And how readily available are replacement parts? Now, this is where the Bambu Lab really shines. You can order just about any replacement part directly from the Bambu Lab website, and you'll get it relatively quickly thanks to it being in a US warehouse. Elegoo, however, only has a handful of parts available on their website, and this has gotten better, but it's nowhere close to where it needs to be in my opinion. Even just a couple months ago, I couldn't even order a replacement hot end or build plate for this printer. I was forced to pick up a third-party hot end on Amazon from someone I've never even heard of. So now the all-important question, which printer should you get? The answer is 42, because it's the answer to everything. Oh wait, sorry, wrong question. If you want to print more materials than PLA, PETG, and TPU, then you should probably look at the Elegoo Centauri Carbon. If you want an Apple level ecosystem experience, then you should probably look at the Bambu Lab A1. Honestly, they both solve different problems, and only you will know what problems that you need to solve. I just hope that I was able to help you in some way to make your decision today. As thanks, you could hit that like button or consider subscribing to my Patreon down below. If you want a deep dive into each printer, I'll have links for both my A1 and my Centauri Carbon video right here. Watching these before you make your choice is probably a really good idea. This is Adam, and I'll see you next time.